China is currently in the middle of celebrating the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. Now, it's no surprise that it's a big deal on the ground in China, so much so that they are having the largest military parade in their history, which may actually prove to be the largest military parade in human history. It's quite something. Now, it's no surprise that this turns around and becomes an event in some other countries adjacent to China, like Hong Kong, for instance. The protesters who continue to ask for more democracy on the ground in Hong Kong, well, they've been met with a fierce reaction by police. The first example we have now of a person being shot by police in Hong Kong, a protester actually taking a bullet as these protests enter their 17th week. Canadians, though, might be surprised to learn that these celebrations are to some degree happening right here in Canada. Just the other day, the city of Toronto had a flag-raising ceremony where they raised the flag of the People's Republic of China. Now, this was apparently on a courtesy flagpole that is made available for other such flag raisings. You often hear about the Pride flag being raised around Pride celebrations. Well, this one was the People's Republic of China flag. Now, I want to pause for a second because we're talking about the 70th anniversary of China, and a lot of people probably say, well, hold on a second. I mean, isn't China way older than that? Isn't it much older than Canada? Don't they have thousands of years of wonderful history and culture behind them, the Chinese people and Chinese society? Yes, that's true. That is not what is being celebrated in these recent days. What is being celebrated is the 70th anniversary of Mao Zedong's brutal and violent takeover of China by authoritarian communists. A legacy that President Xi Jinping has been pretty pleased to take the ball and run with, and he has been called the most hardline leader of China since Mao. So they're celebrating this anniversary there in China, and well, I guess that makes sense because it's their country and it's still the communist regime, so they're proud of that. But people are proud of it here in Canada, and they're celebrating it, and they are getting official standing in cities across the country, in the city of Toronto, no less. Now, Toronto Mayor John Tory, he says he's boycotting this flag raising because of the hostage situation with Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor. Fair enough. But why is this even allowed up there in the first place? They say, well, it's what we do, it's our protocol. Any group or organization can come and sign up and have the opportunity to raise their flag. No, don't hide behind policies, don't hide behind rules, because you make the rules. And you can say, not on my watch, we are not flying the communist flag of China right here at City Hall. Yet they did it anyway. Now, there are some politicians taking a stand. Brad West is the mayor of Port Coquitlam in British Columbia. Now, the Union of BC Municipalities had recently had one of their gatherings in British Columbia, bringing together a whole bunch of mayors and city councilors. And at one of their functions, one of their celebrations, it was actually funded by the government of China. It wasn't the most expensive event. It cost something like $5,000 or $6,000, but it was paid for by the Chinese government, clearly as an opportunity to lobby all of these different BC municipal politicians to bring them on board with China's agenda. Now, Brad West, good on him. He said, I'm not going into this event. Me and some of my other city councilors, we're going outside and we're protesting this association. And then they led a vote at that conference to vote against accepting money from foreign governments for these sorts of events that they have, rejecting sponsorship money. 2/3 agreed, yes, we've got to reject this. It's kind of troubling that 1/3 of municipal politicians in British Columbia are okay with accepting money from China for their various events. Incredibly troubling to see. Every single week, every single month, we see more and more stories that show just how interwoven Chinese communist goals are with what's happening in Canadian society. Too bad we don't have an election campaign happening right now or coming up where we can discuss these big ticket issues. Oh wait, of course we do. We are in the thick of it, and we're hearing nothing about it from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, nothing about it from NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, very little from Elizabeth May, and I think very little from Maxime Bernier as well. The main person who's spoken out about this is Andrew Scheer, and he hasn't really been saying much. His main thing is that he would withdraw Canada from the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, this global banking entity that Xi Jinping has created to rival the IMF and the World Bank, so that China can take over dominance of world finance as opposed to the US-led institutions. We've got to get out of this thing. And it was actually controversial that Bill Morneau and Justin Trudeau signed us up for it in the first place. The US really didn't want us on board with that. But other than that idea from Andrew Scheer, which is a good one, That's all we're hearing right now on the campaign trail. And that's alarming.